Good.
So, like, seriously good vibes. I wonder whether we should be worried for T1. We'll just have to find out. We'll wait and see as we dive into the draft here for game number 1. Blue side for BNK should favor them as the Nidalee respect for Oner coming out immediately.
Yeah, it's also hard to tell whether those were genuinely happy or we're about to get
We're in
stopped.
danger.
Yeah, exactly. The we're in danger smile. The Sejuani, I think, is a really, really great call. Nidalee, I understand from a level of oppression perspective. I also think Raptor has, as mentioned, struggled, and playing into a jungler like Oner is not going to be a good time. We really saw yesterday as well how insanely hard it can be to try and play jungle when your lanes are not doing well. In the Kwangdong series, where Cuz was just like kind of there. The Kalista, interesting that it is still this high on the ban list. A lot of other teams have dropped it.
Yeah.
I think this is about trying to get Hannah and Doro a matchup that is at least remotely playable. If I'm going to get taken away. So Tristana Corki, which often is on the ban list, taken... not taken off the board this time around. The Ashe still going to be the priority. Can obviously go both ways, but most likely that's going to go towards Hannah. I think Duro isn't really an Ashe type of guy, and we'll see. I also, obviously, taking away Ashe, I think is great. And so the 1-2 is great. I do think that Faker's Tristana has definitely been...
Plants!
It's been volatile. I don't think he's really been able to match the consistent level of play that we're very used to seeing with Faker, but the combo, it's self-explanatory, all right? It's going to be double A carry, probably pick up Ezreal here, even though you might struggle on lane. I feel like that 1-2-3 is still going to feel amazing.
Yeah, you can see Gumayusi actually having a little bit of a consider here. Not looking too vocal, though. See whether it is going to be something else. Never mind. He's going to telepathically tell the rest of his teammates that it's Ezreal that he wants to play. And they're going to lock that one in. This is looking pretty cookie cutter on the side of T1. Probably wanting to collect themselves a little bit of engage. Unless they don't want to engage, because engaging onto a Zyra is a really rough time. We'll see what they can actually do to make sure that they have some way of taking control of areas in this one.
I'm not going to assume this is the case, but there is even the possibility that this is Ashe Zyra bottom lane. I just want to throw it out there.
I mean, it is Ashe Zyra.
Well,
this is a famous one.
Like that would be cool. I don't think that's what's going to be the case here. Obviously, the most likely outcome is that it's just going to be Raptor on the Zyra. I want to have it mentioned.
Yeah,
it is a historical throwback, and I think Zyra actually in support.
I mean, theoretically, it can also be mid lane because you can play Corki Ashe.
Okay, well now I think we are straying too far away from.
I mean, I think Zyra mid's the best way to play her personally. It's too fiddly. Too fiddly getting around the jungle and making sure your plants do everything for you and stuff.
Atlas, you have like a 305 clear, and it's you don't even have to get your plants right.
But it's fiddly.
Okay, well, Raptor most likely going to go for that one. This is a very clear Leona signaling. I imagine the Leona are going to get banned away here on the side of BNK. And the one big upside for T1 is that if you go for Leona here, there obviously is some punish potential, but the Braum is already taken away, which is one of the big ones.
Yep,
and
like
you also get counterpick for top. So Zeus will then be able to just counterpick into whatever clear has been played. Zeus has definitely been volatile in both his playstyle and his champion pool. It's going to be the Karma instead. So they're fine with the Leona being picked up here.
I think that's
what they have in mind.
Isn't it super weird, though, just because they were going to have 0 engage, and if it was Karma as well, then T1 are never going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, but the lane pressure would be, I think, incomparable.
That's true. And
the main thing with the weaknesses of not having engage, I don't think apply to T1, because they're maniacs. So like they're gonna play super aggro in lane. They're gonna get first 2 objectives. So I understand it from that perspective. I do think Ezreal Leona is still insanely good. So I don't think T1's gonna be too bothered by the fact that the pressure lane is not available to them. This is a clean way to kind of end the draft. The Jax is not as exciting.
I mean, it's exciting, but it's dangerous.
Yeah, I think the Aatrox is a safer bet. Even though it's not going to really make you excited, there isn't really too much synergy towards the top side. Normally we love to see something like the Sejuani, even though Sejuani Aatrox hasn't necessarily been standout due to the fact that Aatrox not really autoing as much as something like a Jax would. This is no front line. Well, you have Leona, I guess. As,
I mean, this is the classic.
That's the throwback. But Jace is already strong, and Jace is going to get buffed next patch as well. So I honestly, try and get as many Jace games in as you can. And Zeus is also going to have his skin released sometime soon, so I got to crank up that Jace value.
Got to make sure that you, it's like the preview. Got to get it in there. This also does mean that any sort of engage that they were lacking wouldn't have mattered. They have Leona anyway, but they're going to outrange BNK anyway. So playing in the neutral with this composition just sounds miserable for BNK.
It does.
How does Zyra ever get in there to do plant stuff?
Yeah, you don't. You already got to just poke. A lot in this game is going to ride on how well Duro can do. Because he can find engages as Alistar.
Yeah.
I think Alistar does somewhat struggle when you don't have map control and you try to set up engages because his engage is pretty telegraphed, right? Like you can flash and you can flash pulverize, but it is always something that I think particularly teams like T1 are very experienced with playing into compared to something like Durel, the Nautilus, which are a little bit more sure, or Leona, which is non-committal. I just think that this is so T1. Like, T1 love playing these fiddly poke-style compositions. I think in isolation, the BNK comp looks good. Good spread of damage. You got engage, you got frontline, you got strong lanes. In practice, though, I think T1 are very happy. There is some volatility here, particularly towards that mid lane. But as long as T1 can manage that, I think they're looking good here.
These Tristana Ivern compositions just seem so incredibly difficult to deal with. It's Zeus on his Jace as well. An uphill battle, potentially, for BNK. But let's see what they can do as we hop onto the rift for game number 1. All right, here we are onto the rift for game 1. T1 fans out in force here today. There is not too many empty seats that I can see, and in fact, none. The people that were going to be in those seats are actually on their way. So I spotted like a couple that were empty, but no, not for long. All right, let's see how the start is going to go, because I think this is going to be very, very important. As Raptor is also going for the Conqueror this time around on Zyra as well. I haven't seen that one personally before.
No, really, I think we saw it maybe once before. Not 100% sure. It definitely is something that we don't see very often. I think it was Brand, actually, that ended up going for Conqueror.
Okay.
I think that the Conqueror on Brand makes a little bit more sense, because in Brand, for Brand, often your job is, you go in, you press your buttons, and then if you end up dying, that's honestly fine. I think Zyra wants to play it a little bit safer, so I really like the comm attack.
I mean, isn't that normally the Zyra thing as well? It's like as long as you've pressed Stranglethorns with some plants down, you're pretty happy?
I think Brand, his ticks make it feel a little bit more impressive. I think Zyra at least wants to do some pre-fight poking, with plants. We've seen that happen. Not in this comp, because you're going to get severely outranged, and it's going to be really hard to actually execute on that. Also, Clear going for Fleet. We've seen Fleet be so insanely popular. Yeah, just in general, like, look at the rune setups, right? Absorb Life, insanely strong right now. A lot of similarities. It's going to help a lot. Same for Zeus with dodging the skill shots that Jace is going to throw at you, as a Clear, as I say that, walks right into the Shock Blast. So it can use the sustain, so that's something.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, it is Aatrox. He should be getting a little bit bullied in this matchup. We'll see whether he's going to be able to find some angles. Of course, it's generally pretty Jace favored. And honestly, top lanes here in the LCK just kind of are, just because the players that we have that are going to bring out the Jace, namely Keen and Zeus, will just not let you really play the game if they're in a matchup that they're happy with. And this was a last pick Jace. And that's just it's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, as Oner is going to be making friends with the jungle here. Always like that 1-2 punch. I believe it was Canyon that showed us that one first off a little while ago, as Keria is going to go in. That's an immediate cleanse out of Henna. Already you can see Raptor in the area, but not going to be able to help out too much over here, and especially not with that ward already in the trap.
Yeah, Duro headbutted the minion there, so that was actually a great setup. Because Raptor was also in the area, but it didn't work because, well, I think he denied the cannon, so, that's
there you go.
That alone is not enough, as we do have some aggression being shown here.
Yep,
a lot of people roaming over.
Exactly right. It is going to be Gumayusi on the earlier roam, though, as now Faker in a little bit of trouble. Closer going aggressive. The former T1 mid laner actually putting a lot of pressure on here in this mid lane. Faker just going to be able to eat some potions, though, and we'll just try and clear out this wave, as now Henna could be in trouble. Oh, the Zenith Blade just barely missing. And that is so much pressure already here from T1 in these lanes.
He doesn't have cleanse. So he would have actually just straight up died if Keria clipped him there. Not going to be the case. Henna just going boots back to lane as soon as possible. Is a cannon wave, so his loss will not be as bad as it could have otherwise been. But this is Dudadoro not finding the angle there. At the very least, I don't know if Keria would have actually died, but you would have gotten, you know, a much more favorable trade. Keria's pressure would have been reduced, and that alone might have been enough to kind of make it worth it. As
Faker going aggressive. Let's get the trigger seed, but he'll be fine. Let's wander his way out. I feel like there's a lot of matchups in mid lane at the moment that just involve going down to about 200 health and sitting there for the entire laning phase, and it's kind of nerve-wracking.
It's because they've played this matchup so many times.
And it's happening with like the Azir Corki matchup as well now, whereas that used to be you just sit at full health and trade waves over and over again, and now it's just fighting at all times. It seems to be the case here with this particular lane anyway. Closer and Faker making sure that they are testing each other as often as they can.
We'll see if this matchup continues to be as prevalent when we get to next week.
Yeah.
Patch changes actually seem very substantial, at least in solo queue. We'll have to see if that's the same in pro, but the Tristana nerfs seem to be effective, which I'm very happy about. I also do have some bad news for you, though, and it might be a precursor to what we'll see in next series. Chovy's just now playing anything AD mid. I think I saw anything from like Draven to Zeri to...
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I feel like we're finally coming full circle, though, because as soon as you can just play Caitlyn and Ashe mid, then we're back to Season 1. We've just finally done it.
And then, what's next? They're going to revamp Sion, bring back AP Sion?
Yeah, and then like the year after that, we're going to be playing Zed again, you know? Like Nidalee's going to be a mid laner. It's going to be the greatest. We just do the full rotation.
Mid Kha'Zix?
Heck yeah! And maybe you can walk around while you're evolving so that no one has to suffer like Ambition does every day.
A great moment, as we do see Raptor trying to take this. Might be a little bit of a smite fight here, but look at that. Keria advantage on the roam.
Yeah, Grasping Roots going down there. Good smite there from Raptor as well.
Oh, he's 6 now.
Yeah.
That's actually quite nice, but look at that top lane Zeus.
This is the problem. Man advantage certainly going to be there for T1 as Zeus does come down. That is a lot of damage from Raptor here, and now the headbutt pole, but great buffer from Faker. Still, BNK, they take control of these grubs, and they'll have them.
That's with BNK looking kind of clean with it. Little bit surprised here, Atlas. Actually,
very impressed with Raptor.
Yeah, actually, really nicely played Herald Contester. I think one of the big things was that Zeus did have great prio, but he also was already chunked a little bit, and he was relatively low on mana. So he just, once he walked into the Zyra route, and Raptor got some more damage down, wasn't a whole lot they could do. And I think if Keria's already there, you know, he can flash Snap Engage on top of the Zyra, which is obviously your biggest weakness. But if it's just Zeus and Oner there, it's actually really hard for them to lock down Raptor, especially without Daisy. So, well identified there by BNK.
Yeah.
They're also matching the roam to make sure that Keria doesn't find a big angle. And that by itself, not going to be enough to really change our opinion of how we expect this one to play out. But nicely done by BNK nonetheless.
I also do think that if BNK can keep up this level of tempo and this sort of control, then it is going to bode so much better than what we were expecting, right? Because a lot of what we were thinking about for this composition was they're going to be on the back foot severely. And that's so far not necessarily the case, as they're only down by about 300 gold, and that is basically just Zeus owning the top lane, and that's like him doing what it says on the tin. And there's also a big wave for Clear to catch here, so even then, not the worst news, although he does need to actually get some of this CS, finally is going to be able to collect a few of them. And there he goes. So he's still behind relatively considerably. But it's like the Aatrox in Zeus'
just
like,
you know
situation.
When Atlas is pulling out the relatively things are not
there are a few things there. As Henna's going to have to use the other summoner spell, actually going to answer it with an arrow, and they did throw out a lot of buttons towards the Ashe here, but Duro was sort of nowhere in sight. So it's just more Henna with very angry arrows.
Henna actually standing his ground there. Also, very obviously faking that he had reinforcements on the way, because if they knew that was an actual 1v2, he might have been in some trouble.
I mean, there are a few cooldowns down, and it was only level 5 for Keria, so maybe that's just...
yeah.
He saw an angle there as the first Drake is going to be taken. We've got Chemtech into Cloud, probably an Ocean Soul, I would assume, based on the amount of rain today. As now Closer's just flying his way up. Daisy's out here as well. He's in melee range with a Jace, and that is dangerous. And also, the angry Cupcake making her way over. So Faker with some spare time on this turret. Raptor going to come on over and try and answer. As I was talking about mid lane Zara, there we go. We nailed it. Not going to find the grasping roots.
It's actually
looks exactly like my gameplay.
That's not how it should look. You know that, right?
Yeah, no, I do. But the best thing about Zara is if you miss, the plants still probably hit.
I see you take the Heimerdinger approach to CSC. It's like, it's fine. Turrets will get most of them.
Although Heimerdinger does have that grenade ability. I don't know what happens if you hit a champion with it, because I've never done it. But that one's a weird one.
I don't think anyone has Atlas. We're not meant to know these things. This does mean that T1 actually gets pretty nice lead. Faker does have the buffer.
Yeah, is he actually going to be able to find it, though? The Buster shot's beautiful there. I don't think Faker could have played that. Like, that was how he gets out of the gank, and he saw it. He saw it, found the window, gets out.
Really clean. Duro was very clearly looking for the interrupt mid-jump. Obviously, Tristana, it looks a little bit silly, but you can actually knock her out of the jump.
Yep.
And Duro was looking for that angle. Faker, nicely done there. Absorbs the gank. Raptor was also there, which actually, I think it was a really cute setup there from BNK, because you have Duro walking out of vision, and then you have, in case Faker ends up, jumping towards the top half of the map, Raptor waiting there, but not going to work out. Still, though, the fact that there's no first blood, the fact this game still seems relatively playable, that's not enough. It's not like T1 is playing, one of those compositions where they kind of start falling off. I think this composition does really well until very late.
Oh, Arrow is going to find the tree, as Duro going to avoid the True Shot barrage actually quite nicely. Still, we're once again doing this thing where Henna throws out an arrow, and there's kind of no one there.
He's just priming them for when he throws an arrow, and then there will be people.
Keeping them on their toes.
Yeah.
I do like that. His hit rate has been pretty good from what we've seen thus far.
It matters. He's playing 80 carry Ashe. We've gotten so used to that. Although recently it's been a lot more of actual AD Ashe. We've seen so many games as, hold that, Clear might have a trap here.
Yeah.
But Faker, he's like, nope, no. I'm going to walk towards that brush. Might still be an angle. At the very least, though, you can just play for grubs. Clear a standing guard, should be able to catch this wave, and Zeus is actually on the back. Yeah, he's not going to walk in. Just catch the wave. You're getting the Raptors.
He's going to... Okay, he just made his way over.
That's fine.
Yep. And there we go. That should be 6 grubs going over to BNK, which is fantastic when you're against a Tristana. Denying Tristana any grubs feels phenomenal.
Yeah, the downside is that they're still down about 1.5k, and the real issue with this composition that T1 has, if they don't, snowball Tristana or Leona completely out of control, it's going to be mid-game objectives. Because we're going to get a Dragon fight, we're going to get Herald fights, and BNK do have the tools again, I think, to find individual targets, blow them up as Faker.
Yeah, Keria going in as well, but isn't going to pull the trigger just yet. True Shot Barrage thought that perhaps the fight would go a little bit further, as we do check in on Henna, who's just going to walk towards it. Not feeling too phased at all. Testing the waters here at T1. I still feel like they haven't necessarily turned it on just yet. Still looking for that big window to try and open this game up. So far, BNK have sort of not given them those big opportunities just yet.
In general, not a lot of opportunities in this game.
Yeah, not a lot of
Zeus. There's not a whole lot happening.
Yeah. Have you spoken to Daniel Orks Harrison recently, and is he still underwater?
He's doing a lot better. I actually played some Swarm games with him before going to work.
Swarm games? What's that?
Swarm. The
Swarm games. I thought you said Swan games. I'm like, are they like duck games? Okay, here goes the arrow. Grasping Roots connects, and there's your first blood, and it goes to Duro.
Well earned, not what you want.
I'm very sad that I started off the first blood of this series with talking about Swan games that didn't even exist.
Well, there's a lot of flooding happening. I understand the fact that you'd be thinking about Swan's Atlas.
Yeah, there we go.
Duro, though, nicely done. Good setup. One of the big weaknesses of the Ivan is that once you do get on top of him, which can be very tough, there is a great amount of burst that was ready to be thrown into him. Actually equalizes the gold by a good amount. I like this play from T1, though, immediately answering back in mid, pushing the lead as they often do, trying to get the most out of a rough situation towards the top side. And they do spot this a little bit. They think they have enough people, but Duro just kind of catches them off guard. Actually, nicely done. You know, not going for the flash headbutt combo, first getting the knock up, then ensuring, going in with the headbutt rather, then ensuring that they have the CC chain. And there isn't really a whole lot that T1 can do there, so nicely done.
Yep. It's pretty important to have some sort of targeted setup for the Zyra as well, because if you don't, you're just throwing out grasping roots and it's really difficult to make that land.
Maintaining
pretty good
hit rate. Again, that wasn't a CC target, but we got to celebrate the small victories, Atlas.
Absolutely.
Already, it's better than I would have expected. I was really coming into this expecting it to be a T1 taking out their anger after losing to Humble Life. Might still come. I'm not...
Well, I mean, they need to start fighting for some of these neutrals, because right now, B&K have taken all of them. Zeus should be able to get some spare time with this outer turret on the bottom side of the map, so that is going to be first turret blood going over to T1. So certainly good, but the trade is actually just everything as far as the neutral objectives so far this game. The Dragon also going to be taken here, though, so T1 are going to finally get their first one. Faker just clearing out this Krug camp, and Duro well and truly behind enemy lines. Faker going to look to pick up this wave as now Closer goes in, doesn't find the big one, but Raptor's still going to be able to throw this one down. And if they manage to take this inner turret, that is a huge influx of gold for this team. As Duro, he's still going to go for it, looks to get the charge as he's a very tanky boy, and he does, of course, have the unbreakable will, so he was going to be fine. Still, they do manage to get the charge. Nicely done.
T1 will have to give up the teleport for that. Zeus did manage to get us back in, so does finish his first half of the Anamune.
This is pretty proactive, and they've got 6 grubs, remember. This should be taken down, as there's the other teleport coming on in here. Faker going to make his way over. Zeus gets on down here, but Clear will be able to secure this turret. Can they keep themselves alive, though, is the question. As Faker looking to try and get out, but the Valkyrie's going to be there. Closer's still looking for more as, the root caller comes in. That's going to stop the aggression. But B&K, they are not taking this lying down, and in fact, they're kind of winning.
It's T1 playing with the usual confidence, and guess what? It's not warranted! You don't win that 2v2! Actually, Corky's so strong when he does get the try for a spike. Really, I think, struggles early on, but when you approach that 2-item spike, insanely strong. Clear also was standing there into 280 characters with Sundered Sky and played at Steel Cap, so he's vibing. And I understand T1 if you play that slower, because Oner was actually ahead on the rotation, would have gotten there earlier. But T1, they're really trying to cut a lot of corners here, and I think B&K are doing a really good job of punishing them. Because, look, again, like giving up this turret, that's one thing, but going in this aggressively, throwing all the burst into Clear with level 2 ultimate, it just doesn't do enough. And Oner arrives just a second late, and it just feels like, again, trying to bite off a little bit more than you could chew.
Yeah. First arrow going to miss as well, but would have been beautifully defensively placed if, it was T1 winning out on the trade. So I'm still going to call it a good one here from Henna. So we're checking out the damage to turrets. Everyone kind of doing a whole bunch of work here on the side of B&K, but otherwise it is Zeus on T1's side. Certainly been having some good times pressing the W button in his cannon form, just feeling good. As another arrow going to pierce the heavens once again, actually connects onto Zeus in the top lane. Redemption comes on down though, Oner trying to keep him alive. As now Daisy going to get grasped. Man, like, they're magnetic, these arrows.
Really nicely done by Henna. They don't get a hold of, though, unfortunately.
I mean, that's not the point. Isn't that what you said before? It's about, like, he hit them.
Okay, fair enough. Still,
all right, he needs to be a little bit careful here. Maybe a lot of bit careful. as he takes most of his health bars. Okay, there's the Soul of Fleb. That's also not really going to do too much. And like you say, the Grubs certainly paying dividends as they just take down the outer turret.
All right, it's a T1 classic Atlas. Please, Zeus, Jace, carry us. We need you. We need you badly. He's very fed. He's about to hit his transformation in, you know, it's like 80 mana. And he will be pretty close. Already has the Brutalizer as well. To what I imagine will be a Surreal does. So they're playing for his free item spike. You have the time. I do really want to reiterate though, if T1 ends up giving up Ocean Soul, there's not a lot of things that a Pocom will hate more. You know, Mountain Soul is also pretty bad, but I feel like Ocean Soul is... When there's an Aatrox on the enemy team as well?
Yeah, Aatrox with Ocean Soul is not okay. It's very, very rude. So
they're also full AD. So Clear can even go for like a very... can go Sterix into a very heavy Bruiser build.
Another one! As the turret was also hitting him, but the turret just explodes. And Duro is now going to look for Faker. There's a headbutt. Pulverize as well. Once again, there's unfortunately not a lot of people there, but they still get the flash. Good sidestep from Clear. Avoids Keria as well. BNK just have the answers today.
They just look good individually as well. Like,
look at this. Getting the push, the full 4 collapse into the mid lane. They'll take this in a turret as well. Out rotating. This was not on my bingo card. I didn't use bingo card.
Okay, BNK, I'm loving your game so far. I just want you to keep this up.
I'm a little bit worried as well.
No,
maybe we should just accept.
Because I've seen so many games where we're like, man, and then T1 gets like one fight at Baron, they ace you, and you lose.
Yeah, I do kind of have that the Quantum Freaks game like, in my head, you know?
I can feel it happening, and I don't want, because I feel like BNK, they've earned, well, they haven't earned the win. They got 2 kills, you know. They're doing well.
They're 1,000 gold almost ahead.
It's not that big a lead.
Yeah, they're even on Drake's.
I want to believe, Atlas.
I know, me too. And they managed to take the inner turret in mid lane, and with this T1 composition, right? Like, you want to be standing your ground and defending, right? It's pretty good at counter siege, as they've got all these brushes and stuff like that. Pretty good at sieging as well with the extra range they do have. Henna's basically dead.
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Huh. But now he gets to go back.
It's just
and then
it's fine.
Throw the arrow.
Just a drake. It's just one ocean drake. Not going to be the end of the world.
What about trading it for Baron? Teleport does come in here.
Yeah, with Zyra?
I mean, they have Leandris.
Yeah, you can. They gotta be sneaky about it, and I think they would have already had to pull the trigger. Now the rotation for T1 is really easy, and it's T1. I don't think you're gonna catch them off guard. Are gonna spot it now. Do know this is going on as Duro.
Oh, arrow is going to pierce on through, but now Duro could be in a whole lot of trouble. He has to flash as he takes Keria with him. Solar Flare doesn't do too much, but now Clear has found the back line. There goes Keria as kill number 1. True Shot Barrage splits the middle of the fight. They have lost a lot of health bars. Headbutt Pulverize, and Gumayusi, he's too far forward. And now Clear wants even more. He's flashing in the Strangle Thorns, and there's the double kill for Closer. I mean, I didn't see it working, but then it just worked.
And it looks like Duro is making a classic challenger mistakes, tries to get the catch on a Tristana.
Right.
This is still very risky. I want to reiterate, this is a very big Jace.
Oh, Clear blocking.
That's big.
The shot blast. That was beautiful. Yeah, this is just secured. BNK going from good to better.
Ooh, there was 5 health on the Baron, but it's fine. They got it.
No, because he wasn't in the pit, so it's fine. Let's check it out one more time.
So great buffer by Faker, and this looks rough, right? Duro tries to get away, but crucially the E connects. So Keria goes all the way in, and then Clear, actually standing in the brush with the Aatrox, gets the early reset, and that alone doesn't look too bad. But then here, Duro, this play onto Guma.
Oh, man.
Guma playing very far forward. Ezreal feels so safe. But guess what? If you get CC'd, even with a preemptive barrier, ends up going down. The CC is there, and what a 1-2 from BNK. Get the Red Bull Baron power play. Take a decisive lead in this game.
And this isn't, like, I know T1 have taken some liberties in this game, you could say, right? They have been playing a little bit fast and loose. But I've just been genuinely impressed by how BNK have been playing this one out.
I'm genuinely shocked. I feel like they've looked so lifeless.
Right.
This entire split.
And Because the thing that's been the most sad about this squad is the conversation about the jungle, right? And the fact that, you know, you see Willer and Challenger and it's not necessarily any better, and you're wondering, is Arrows going to connect once again? Henna, like, what is this? Targeted arrows? That's insane. All right, they're going to grab another inner turret. This Rebel Baron power play is starting to get completely out of control. We're moving towards a 6,000 gold lead. There's a solar flare. That's going to connect as Duro does tank the shock blast. That could have otherwise been a whole lot of damage onto Henna, and he could have almost been dead, as now Clear just umbrally dashes out of the way of the Zenith Blade, and he will be absolutely fine. This siege is working out. They're looking to try and take down the rest of this turret. They'll get it, as Daisy, he takes a lot of damage there as well and will go down.
Yeah, the problem is there's only one Zeus. Like, Zeus is a free item spike. He's insanely strong, but there's just one of him. Like, he can't be in multiple lanes at once. Faker, unfortunately, having another game in the chain of, I think, rather unfortunate Tristana games.
Yeah.
This one, not his fault, right? I'm not talking about this. Is just very nicely done here. Catches him completely. Duro also ensuring that Oner can't actually get to him to bail him out. Like, the synergy between, particularly the bot lane of BNK, is really, really shocking. Closer on this Corki also having a really, really great game. I'm vexed, Atlas, but I'm happy.
Me too. Yeah. It's just really impressive stuff.
And now all they need to avoid, again, because not a single kill has actually been found by T1, and playing a Pokemon from behind, absolute nightmare. They need to keep it clean, well, not overextend.
Bit of a vibes arrow there from Henna, not really going to find too much. As Raptor also taking some poke himself. There's a shock blast, that's going to send him home.
Yeah.
Fuller is not going to quite find the mark, as Clear at least sends this minion wave into the Nether. And T1, they've weathered the storm of the Baron. They haven't lost any inhibitors just yet, but there is an open door on the top side of their base. And BNK have them on the ropes. It's only 26 minutes into the game.
I know. Dragon is going to get taken here by BNK. I don't think T1 with the lacking control, if you look at the wards towards the bot side jungle, should be looking to contest this too heavily. It's just a second Drake. Doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Most likely, by the time that you actually are going to be forced to fight for Drake, you're looking at free items at least.
Oh, there's a headbutt pole as Keria possibly caught out, does have to flash. That is going to be an offensive tool now taken away from the Leona. Could be important.
TP as well. Look at the flank from Clear. They don't know about this Aatrox.
Well, Duro going to get in there first as there's Clear, finally discovered. Keria does have the Eclipse available, but Clear's got a World Ender, and he has got a right to use it. He's going to be able to take down the Leona now as BNK, they just have all of the control. The arrow is going to be avoided by the Arcane Shift. Nicely done there. The opportunism, though, I love it here from Henna. And they're going to get the big old triumphant roar, and everyone's going to be absolutely fine. Closer also, look at that gusto. Just utilizing his Valkyrie to eat some cooldowns. As now T1, they don't want to give this one up. Dura going to be discovered there as Faker going to have to rocket jump his way back. In goes Closer there, finds that Trinity Force proc onto Gumayusi and just does so much damage. My goodness, this Dragon, not long for the world. T1 not going to be able to contest that one, but it's this next Baron in 1 minute's time that I'm really worried about. I think if BNK gets that, they just win this game.
I agree. That's the last stand for T1, and what are you actually going to be able to finish? I don't think we're going to get a second item for Faker. Maybe for Guma, but I think for him it's also not looking very likely. Say he's also just bought the Dirk, so situation, the setup here for T1 suboptimal. And I think here again, this contest for T1, you can't do that. You're too far behind to try and fight your way back, particularly with a composition like this. I think you just have to accept, take the L, and just push the side waves, you know, push top. Maybe look for a push in mid if you can generate a little bit. Get a bounty, you know, just get a mid lane turret out of it.
Yep.
Try and at least force BNK to make a mistake. Just matching straight up when you have this little control of the game is a big gambit, and it doesn't end up working out. They don't get anything else. The Drake still goes over to BNK, and the last stand for T1 I think is coming in about 10 seconds. And we'll have to see if they can deny this. Maybe Oner can get a heroic steal. That will possibly keep them in the game. We'll have to see if they can actually make that happen. Look at the power spikes. Right?
Oh, it's huge. And Closer, I don't think I've seen him this large in a game so far this season. As they
maybe
are
not even
trying to stay out of vision. Closer is now on vision completely. Dura going to get spotted here. This Baron is going down so incredibly low. Keria gets into the pit. He'll have some vision there. The health bars are going low. Oner, can he get in there? The answer is no. The Stranglethorns gets the knockups as well as Keria thrown around like a ragdoll. Faker dives in now. They're looking for the last-ditch effort. As Clear has found Oner, he dives on top of Faker and executes him. Zeus now trying to do what he can, but it is over. It is done. They'll take the Baron. They'll take the team fight. And by goodness, they're going to take the game.
And BNK, we were watching, we're holding our breaths, Atlas, because we were like, there's no way. There's no way, right? That even a game win would be colossal for this team. And you look at the scoreline, it's not even close.
It's not. And it's beautifully executed. It's wonderfully played here from BNK as well. Maybe this is the start of their resurgence right at the end of the first round robin of summer. There goes the Nexus. It's only one game.